Hey, welcome to another edition of Conversations with the Artists with yours truly, DJ Timeless, the show where we talk to your favorite artists, we find out more about them personally, and of course, those top 10 songs. We hear about those songs, the writings, the stories, the jokes, all that and more right here on Conversations with the Artists. This week, we're heading to Trinidad and Tobago. Yes, the island, the land of steel pan, of sweet music, sweet kaiso, and no other than a guy we've all sang along to his music. Even if you're not a Trini, there's a song he has, and even if you're not a Trini, you find yourself singing loud and really embracing this song. Who are we talking about? Well, his name is Mr. David Rudder. Mr. Rudder, sir, great to have you right here, Conversations with the Artists.
One life, Barbados. Not one love, one life.
One life, one love. Love it. Mr. Rudder, thank you so much for spending the time here with us on Conversations with the Artists. First of all, for those who are watching who may not know, who is David Rudder?
Performer, songwriter, father, uncle, grandfather, everything. Regular people, regular guy with a little talent, so they say.
A regular guy with a little talent. I like it. Okay. Where did it start for you? How did you get into singing?
I started at the age of 9. There was a school competition in Belmont Boys RC School, and I somehow I felt I should go up and be a participant. So the moment I stepped on the stage that day in the school hall, I felt a kind of magic and a peace come across my spirit. And that was the moment I said, this is what I want to do. You know, some people want to be a fireman, and then they want to be a police, and they want to be a lawyer. And stuff. From that moment, that age of 9, I knew I had to be on the stage, you know. And from that point, that's when I started. And there was a little group called the Solutions. We formed a group called the Solutions in Belmont, and we started to do gigs around the town and so on and so on. You could say I used to get a little $5 for my effort, and so I was a professional at the age of 9.
Wow!
Right. I even went around the age of 14. We had a guy called Billy Reese, who was the number one DJ in Trinidad, and he had a show called the Billy Reese Rodeo. He used to take across the island. And then we moved the rodeo to Barbados. So I came to Barbados around the age of 14 to perform.
Wow.
You know? So I did a show, I think it was at a cinema in town. There's a place called Beach Villa and another one called Brenlita. It's owned by Mr. Williams, a Trinidadian. I remember staying there and performing there. Back in time for school on a Monday morning. So even at that age, I was kind of living the life, you know.
What was it like at age 9 going on a stage? So can you remember that feeling?
I just said it was like magic. It was like, this is what I have to. This is my thing, you know. It was just hit like an instant, you know.
What was the response like from your parents, though, choosing this path?
The funny thing is, my mother was always very strict, but she somehow left me alone for some reason. Like she felt like maybe this is the one to bring the family through, you know. So she kind of left me alone, and that was because she was very strict, and that was surprising, you know. It was but because he's your eldest, you know, maybe that is it. But I think she just felt something.
She felt something really nice. Throughout your career, you've put out some music that has really touched not only Trinidadians, but really spread across the world. What is your writing style like? How do you come up with your music? What's that process like?
I don't know. Sometimes I go to these days. I've gotten quite lazy because I guess I know what I can do. So sometimes I just step in the studio, make a melody, or maybe write a lyric, and then put a melody around it, you know. And I think I listen to the ground, I listen to what people say. I read. I love history. I I read a lot what's happening in the news and so on. So there's information all the time. So when I step on into the studio, all the information comes pouring out, and I have a different way of seeing things. So that is, I think, it makes a difference in the way I write compared to the more conventional style of other people.
What else? What can you share with us about your musical career? Is there anything in your career you wish you would have done differently? Are you fully satisfied where you are? What's that journey like?
Um, I don't think I have. I mean, I made mistakes, but I think the mistakes are. I see mistakes as a different thing in a different way. It's a positive thing. You learn from that mistake and you move on. Um, I would like to. I'd like to be playing music right now, but I've been grounded for 2 years. You because of obviously the pandemic and so on. But I just want to keep making music and spreading the vibe around the world to people, and I'm happy with that.
You were the lead singer of the brass band Charlie's Roots. Let's discuss that. What was that like going into being a lead singer of a band and putting out that music?
Well, I was actually a solo performer before. I used to do
Okay.
like back in the 60s, the late 60s. I used to just go about performing kind of like folk, Richie Haven style, that sort of way, social commentary about what's happening in the country. And so then I started around the mid 70s, I started to do my own recordings. My first recording was a song called Mother Earth. That's some young men in Trinidad who wanted to change the society, and they ran up into the mountains of the Northern Range and waged war on the state. They got, most of them got killed and so on at the end of the day. But I wrote songs about them. I wrote a song called Mother Earth, and that was the first song I recorded. Unfortunately, I left the tape in the studio, and being at that time a pipsqueak, some big artist came in and was short of a tape, and they took my tape and rubbed it off.
Wow.
So up to the day I think about that.
Wow.
And, so I shook that off, and I started to work at the public transport at the bus company.
Okay.
And I used to, my office was in San Juan, Quasi they call it. It's like the meeting point for east and west on the Eastern Main Road. And it was kind of like you would see Indian people, African people passing droves in front of the office, And I created a song called Dubla Woman. That fusion of India and Africa. That was my first, I wouldn't say the recorded album, but the one that was saved. I didn't lose that one. And it became a hit in Trinidad, my first big hit in Trinidad. Dubla Woman.
Wow.
And then I used to do a lot of studio work for Art Decoto and all the top arrangers in Trinidad, along with my friend Carl Jacobs and his wife Carol, and a girl called Patsy Holder. So we would be background vocals, and most of the recordings kept coming out of Trinidad back in those 70s and 80s and so on. So sometimes Carl and Carol used to sing with Charlie's Roots at that time, and I would do some background vocals, So
Right.
I would hang around with them, and I went on stage a couple of times, sang some. We did it like clockwork, We knew all the songs and so on. But apparently, some of the members of Roots wasn't happy that I would come on stage and sing. So they got someone who I knew in the band to come and tell me, well, we don't want you really on the stage. So
Wow.
I was surprised that weeks later, the manager came and asked me if I would be the lead singer. Because Christopher Tambu Wilbert he had lost his voice, and they wanted someone to replace him until he got himself.
Get fixed up,
So
yeah.
I said,
Okay.
you come back and ask me. you know. But that's how my journey with Charlie Juice began.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
After spending that time with the band, you decided to go solo. What made you make the switch?
Well, I think my musical growth was a different path, and I remember one day I booked the studio to do some songs, and the band was supposed to come fall in and work on my songs. And when I got to the studio, the engineer said, "But the band is in New York." So that's I had a friend, my friend Wayne Bruno. I said, "Wayne, well, you're gonna help me out this time." And I started to record with him. I didn't say anything, but I worked with him, and I also did some arrangements with Pelham. So after a while, my albums became a part of Wayne's style and Pelham's style, which actually gave me more leverage, and the way creative leverage, So it was just a question of growth. I think I just was on a growth spurt, and everything else was just mellow and comfortable around me. And I'm never comfortable in that creative way,
Interesting. To have your music translated into Japanese and soul, I mean, like really sell out, that must give you a great sense of accomplishment. How does that make you feel knowing that your music has done that?
Whenever someone tells you, you put out some work, and someone says to you, "I ain't like that," and somebody say, "Thanks for that." It means that both of them are hearing the music, and so all art could do, art can't lead. I don't think art could lead, but the art could suggest. So when art suggests and people say, "I hear you, maybe we could do it this way," it feels good, And then when you go to places where you never expect the music to be, and I went to Japan, and I was surprised at the reaction, There was even a funny story when a reporter came to me and said he wanted to do an interview. So I said, "Go ahead." And he said, "That song about the stupid woman, what made you create that?" So I said, "Stupid woman, which song is that?" He said, "Bacchanal woman," right? But apparently the word bacchanal in Japanese just means stupid. So they thought bacchanal lady was.
Wow.
So it was kind of interesting how sometimes things get lost in translation. But again, the music is a different communicator in itself, and that's something else. I even
If you know, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I did a song called Jerusalem one time, and people kept coming to me and saying, "You have a song called Jerusalem?" I was in the Middle East and I heard that song in Israel. I heard it in Palestine. Even Aja from Barbados, he said, "You have a song called Jerusalem?" I was up there, and I hear this. So I said, "What? The song resonating?" And then I got in the mail, someone sent a mail to Trinidad, David Rudder, Trinidad and Tobago. And they dropped the package home by me. It was some Palestinians sent some those black and white things they wear, the Arafat wear, and different throw pillows and things like that. They sent some gifts for me. So It's like all these little things are like, you want the fame, you want the money and everything else, whatever comes with it. But these are the things that really hit home, that you're doing something and people are hearing it, That's unbeatable as a feeling.
If you're now joining us, welcome to Conversations with the Artist. This week we are in Trinidad and Tobago talking to Mr. David Rudder. We're talking about his story, his journey, and of course, his music. Mr. Rudder, let's start with High Mass. One of those songs that really, whether you are Christian, you're in the secular world, it's one of those songs that makes you feel good and you sing along to and you just it's just one of those songs. Talk to me about writing this one and the story behind it.
That song was written when I was about 7, 8 years old. I didn't know
Wow.
it then, but it was written then. When I was born, my mother baptized me as an Anglican. And then my grandmother, who was a spiritual Baptist, African Baptist, she took me and what they call offered me up. Like that's their kind of way of baptism.
Right.
But when I was 5 years old and ready to school, they said, you have to go to Belmont Boys Roman Catholic School. And Father Graham said,
Wow.
you can't come into school unless you're baptized as a Catholic. So in a short space of time, I was baptized an Anglican, a Baptist, and a Catholic. And I always was a wanderer, you know. So whenever, as a 8 or 7, 8 year old, going to church, I would listen to in those days everything was in Latin. Dominus vobiscum est in spiritu suo. Amen. You know, and everything and the offering up of the host and all that. So that stuck in my head, and I also recognized earlier clocking that there's a kind of a fear or guilt, I don't know what to call it, among Catholic people who, even though Carnival itself is based on a Catholic path,
Right.
the Catholic people kind of try to stay away from it, you know.
Right.
Almost like it's not that hedonistic style affects how we feel about this, you know. How we handle this kind of situation is to keep away from it.
Right.
So the song came back now from that time, and it was just basically saying, listen, you don't have to be vulgar, you don't have to be crass or anything. Just come out and celebrate with the people. Just be part of the flow, the magic of the thing, you know. And that was the message of the song, to step out of your boundaries, you know. And I lived to see the following year there was a Catholic band parading on the streets of Carnival, you know.
Wow.
So that was interesting.
Sounds really interesting for sure. And the song is still a very huge song to this day.
Funny enough, there's a dancehall artist called Sirani, I think.
Sarani.
He said, Sirani said, Mr. Rudder, I have never found a song in the history of music that has 5 hooks. I said, 5 hooks? He says, high mass. You know, and he started to me, everybody hand raise. That's 1 hook. If you know what I mean, put up your finger. You know what I mean? Put up your hand. That's 2 hooks. Oh, give Jah his praises. 3 hooks, 4, you know. Everybody come and celebrate, yeah. 4, ooh, eh, I love the country. I said, you study that? He said, no other song I know in the history of man have 5 hooks. Try and find one. I never even think about that. So the song is even making magic that I don't know, or miracles, I should say. But I don't understand.
Well, let's take a listen. A high mass coming out from David Rudder.
Give praise, children. Give praise. Give praise, children. Yeah. Give praise. Give praise, children. Yeah. Give praise. Give praise, children. Our Father who has given us this earth so we can all feel like we're a part of this earthly heaven.
High Mass coming on from Mr. David Rudder. What a fantastic tune. What is it like performing this song? I mean, I'm sure that people still request you to sing this song.
That's usually my closing song.
Okay.
You know, when I do my concerts, I usually do like 2-3 hours, and then the final song, usually that. Although recently, there's a song I wrote called "Spirits Have to Dance." Sometimes I end with that now, but high mass is usually the people go out to the hall or wherever we play, chip in and sing to that, and we play till they empty the hall. You know.
It must be a good
It's a
feeling
close-up.
watching people sing this song, though. I mean,
Oh yes, every day, every song. You know, when they have that communion with the crowd, sometimes I would put the mic, take the music down and let them sing. They're the stars now, you know. I'm the spectator.
let's take you back to 1991 when 4 of your songs were included as soundtracks on the film Well Orchid. How did that happen?
Well, at that time I was signed to London Records in Europe and Sire Warner Brothers in America, and Sire Warner Brothers was in charge of the soundtrack. The movie was there's a kind of people call him crazy, but he has a different way of seeing things too. You know, Zalman King. He had done a song, a film called 9.5 Weeks with Mickey Rourke and what's the name? I can't remember the actress' name. But this Wild Orchid was like a similar version of the film in Brazil, and the person who was handling the soundtrack was a guy called Andy Paley. But Andy Paley was kind of like struggling to find out what Zalman King, what his head was thinking, you know, and he couldn't. He was struggling with music. So I stayed at my brother's office in New York. At the same time, Timo Stein, who was the CEO of Sire One, was talking to Zalman King, and Zalman King was saying the only song he liked on the album was "Just a Carnival" by David Rudder. So he said, but David Rudder's right here. He said, well, let him go with Paley and them and see if he could come with something. And within about 2 hours, we did 3 more songs. You know?
Wow.
Because I write quickly, so they were kind of like, what? You did that? And he liked all the songs. So that's how I ended up on 4. I was to do 1 track. I ended up on 4. You know?
Wow.
That was quite interesting.
You see,
And
you
I also
can
got a
write
cameo.
song. Sorry, I missed that. Go ahead.
I also got a cameo in the movie. So I went to.
I was just coming to that.
Flew to Brazil, and the movie actually ends with me on stage on a truck. You know, so it was a nice experience.
You said you were able to write songs pretty quickly. What's that process like? How do you get your inspiration for songs?
Sometimes it's just something someone might say, you know, and I always draw this example. One day, there's a friend of mine, she was saying, "I'm going in town and wine like I never christened." And I said, "What?" She said, "I'm going in town and rub down with snake oil and I'm going to wine like I never christened." And I said, that is a magic bullet. She could have wine like she never christened. And it kind of highlights the kind of hold that the church has on people. So if she could say, well, I'm going to wine, and only people who never christened could get away with that.
Can get away, yeah.
Could break that ceiling, you know? And that was, that's what created the Long Time Band. So I created a story about this band, which was really the old feel of Carnival and the old spirit was on his last legs. And this was the last push before it faded away, you know? And and I created this story about the Jamet, who was part of the kind of original bringing it. One of the people who brought the carnival to the streets, you know, and were persecuted because of the behavior they had, and everybody have the same behavior. You know, but the Jamaics were the ones who started that. You know, they were like people outside the norm of regular society. You know, so they were called the Jamets because
Jamet, okay.
they, yeah. So you know, it's like they were the ones who turned things around. So, they also showed that in those days the carnival came out from the hills of Laventille, Mova, Belmont, you know,
Wow.
Woodbrook, and so on, you know. And it's the people on the ground who brought it out like that, you know. I was about to say they were seen as diametrically opposed to regular society, and Trinidad was then still had French residue inside our language form. So that's why diametre became Jamet, you know, a kind of strong rebellion. It came like what the Jamaicans called Talawa.
Talawa, yeah.
And Jamet wasn't somebody to be messed with. So I created this song, a long time back, and Ina the Jamet, he had a man come in and she remembering when she used to rule the tongue. And that's when I say, she won't listen. Then she said, why she never christened. And I got to put these words that I heard into the song. So that song was built around that line, that you know.
Interesting.
That's how I do it.
Very interesting. If you're now joining us, welcome to Conversations with the Artists. This week, Trinidad and Tobago, David Rudder. Mr. Rudder, sir, thank you once again for joining us right here on Conversations with the Artists. We're moving into the song Madness. Talk to me about the writings of this one.
Well, that song was actually written for Crazy. He didn't have a producer that year, so Ellis Chowdhury, who was the manager of Charlie Jones, had promised to produce it. So he said, but David Rudder here, he could write. Let him write some songs for you. So I said, sure, I might write. I don't mind writing the songs. And I did 3 songs for him. One was called Jump Up. The next one was called Madness. And the next one was called Bahia Girl. And I know Crazy had this way of every couple of songs he would emphasize that he was a madman. Crazy the madman, the lovable lunatic. So I created this song where he jump in this fete and take over the fete, and it wasn't a fete again, it was madness. So I said, well, all right, when is Crazy coming in to work? Next thing you hear, Crazy somewhere in the States. So that never happened. So I had these songs. And so in 86, I changed the lyrics to suit myself. And the rest is history. Madness, Bahia Girl, and Jump Up. They all became hits, you know, especially Bahia Girl. And even today, Madness is one of the most wanted or played songs. You know, like even the youngsters now, the new generation, they say, "Rather that song, that Madness, boy, that tune bad." You know, so it was meant for me. It wasn't meant for Crazy.
What was it like putting down the lyrics? Yeah, go ahead.
The story itself is Trinidad society. The fact is Trinidad society, and I'm the observer looking on at what's going on,
Right.
you know, but no one knows I'm there. And so the girl from Texaco, who is like from Holding Him Convent, she was one who was well educated in a very secure job. Suddenly, the oil prices gone down. She lost her job. The dude worker, who is the guy who sweeps the street, he snatches her and he gone with her. Because at this time, could show off on anybody else again because the whole tongue flattened. The French Creole businessman lost his business. The union man joined him because if you have no workers, you have no union. So the whole process like total chaos. So it was done in a pretty way, like so you could actually, it's a dread song. You could just party to it, like and it compels you to sort of raise your hand, and it never says that, but somehow something is structured in music compels people to kind of they fly, So
Well,
then they could at some other time they could sober up and say, oh, so that's what this song really is about, But they can't resist the music itself. This is the real communicator.
it's true. Well, let's take a listen to
to
madness coming down from Mr. David Rudder right here on Conversations with the Artists.
I jump the wall about 12 o'clock and I'm gone inside. Stand up there, the people expect me high, open wide. Everybody inside there like they're getting hard. But when I watch out their faces, mama, yo, like they're going mad. It must be the budget that the man from Whitehall did read. Cause all of them inside that they like they suck and crazy seed. That kind of head couldn't come from weed. This is not a fed in here, this is madness. This is not the kind of jam where you start like a choopy begging for mercy. This is not a fed in here, this is madness. Ay, 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 ay. Everybody mad. Ay, 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 ay. Where we going? Where we going? Where we going? Why we going?
Talk about music and lyrics. I recognize in your music you like to give the instrument some time to breathe and to also share the message as well.
Yes. Another thing too is that, like I said, when we go in St. Anne's, when anybody say they go in St. Anne's, it means the Trinidad mental asylum is in St. Anne's Hospital.
Oh,
So where we go, we place everybody, so the whole country heading towards St. Anne's, right? But the funny thing is, the Prime Minister's residence is next door to the madhouse in St. Anne's.
oh my goodness.
Right, is right next to the madhouse in St. Anne's. So there's all the little intricacies, the little double meanings inside the major double meanings. It's very intricate, very intricate song. Stories, sub stories,
I'm gonna ask you: did anyone hold a party, make a conga line, and head up to St. Anne?
We tired with it right next. I do a show every year that the Carnival Festival in Normandy, the Normandy Hotel, and the Normandy Hotel is right next. So you look over the fence, and that's the Prime Minister's residence right there. So sometimes I say, I wonder if he heard me, he or she. But so it is like the madhouse, the Prime Minister's residence, Hotel Normandy. We all in St. Anne mad.
Wow. Music, stories, all right here. Conversations with the artists. David Rudder, we're having a great chat with him.
Yeah.
Now, David, I said in the beginning, there's a song you have, and although it talks about, love for country, I've heard in many places, I've traveled the world, played in different fetes, and when this song comes on, and even if you're not a Trini, you can see people singing this song at the top of their voice, Trini to the bone. Talk to me about this song and why you felt it necessary that you needed to put out this song.
That was actually written by, it's one of the rare times that I've sung someone else's song. That was written by a guy called Ian Wilshire.
Okay.
Right? And feelings about Trinity. And it was really a song about a utopia. But I didn't see it that way. So I said, okay, I'll do this song, but I have to change it to suit my way of seeing, because I don't believe it's a utopia. I think we love who we are, but we also have to be aware that some things that are not so good are going down. So he said, okay, go ahead. And that was, so I contributed to it, but that song was actually Ian's song, you know? But I was able to put my stamp on it and you know, give it that kind of, I think the reason why he asked me is because I don't think anybody else would have, because my style would have handled song of that in that way. You know? I think that's the reason why I did that song, and the reason why it's so poignant even today, up to today, is because I think I executed the song proper in a magical way. A lot of it is ad-libs and scats and so on. And these things happened while I was recording the song. So it was almost like it was meant for me.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting. And the fact that you were able to take the song and create it and put your own spin on it is also, it speaks volumes to who you are as an artist. Like I said, I've seen people who are not even Trinis singing this song like they are Trinis. How does that make you feel to go and sing on a stage and see a mass of people singing along to this song?
Well, I'm a Caribbeanist. I call myself a Caribbeanist. And you know, I believe in these little islands. And I always feel like when people feel the music in that way, I'm doing my job as a Caribbeanist. You know, Rally Around the West Indies is the theme song for the Caribbeanist theme song. You know, because like this is where we should be, how we should be. People don't have time with us again. You know, again, the wealth, the sugar is no longer king, and they go on their way. Who is going to look out for us? We ourselves. We have to. Today I'm seeing, well, St. Vincent sending some vaccines to Trinidad, and you know, the first people to land in St. Vincent was a Trinidad delegation. You know, that's the way we should be living, a family. You know, and that's the essence of that's what I believe. You know, and that's how we should see ourselves, family. You know, all of we is one family.
Can we have a remix then, Caribbean to the bone then?
I'm losing you.
Can we have a remix? Maybe call it Caribbean to the bone?
You could do that too. I'll write a song called the Caribbean. I'll write a Caribbean song too. Caribbean.
So we'll hold you to that. David Rudder will be writing a Caribbean song.
All right. So whenever I do this Caribbean song, you'll say I was the instigator for this thing. So tell your friends.
I like that. Let's take in Trinity to the board coming up from Mr. David Rudder.
Islands in the sun, islands in the fun. Welcome one and all to the land of death. Trinity to the bone, Trinity to the bone. When they come to Bacchanal, well, they can't beat we at Trinity to the bone, Trinity to the bone. Look, sweet woman parade abundantly. The brethren, they full of energy. Some people say God is a Trinity. Paradise are not convincingly. God gave us a spirit fiery, but nothing in
Trinity to the Bone coming out from Mr. David Rudder. Talk about sweet music. Mr. Rudder, back in 1992, you were awarded the Hummingbird Medal for Culture. I think we've lost him there just now, so let's see if we can get him back shortly.
Sweet, sweet TNT. All this sugar can be good for me. All these years I spent abroad in the cold, longing to be home. Trinity to the bone. Trinity to the bone. Lord, I pray that some sweet day I will no longer have to roam. Trinity to the bone. Trinity to the bone. The problems we have are plain to see. We prove we can stand this scrutiny. All I know that true democracy. How we vote is not how we party. There's no place like home, some people say. Though some have to leave to make their way. But in your hearts I know their destiny. So come home and big up the country. Sweet, sweet TNT. Lord, how I love this country. Sweet, sweet TNT. No place in this world I'd rather be. Sweet, sweet TNT. Lord, how I love up the country. Sweet, sweet TNT. All this sugar can be good for me. From Cuba to Signal Hill.
Yeah, sometimes we have these little technology issues. You know how it is with the internet. You know, we are trying to get him back. Mr. David Rudder.
We play in my sun or rain. Sweet.
Let's see if we can pull him back in now. Mr. Rudder, you're there?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we lost you there for a quick second.
Yeah, the Wi-Fi was giving a little trouble on the side.
Yes, yes. So great to have you back. Like I was asking you before we lost you, I was saying back in 1992, you were awarded the Hummingbird Medal for Culture. How did that make you feel?
Well, it just makes me feel like every time I walk around the streets of Trinidad and some people say, thanks for the music. Sometimes even the madmen, there's a madman used to come up every night to hear a certain song, you know. So I always feel like I'm touching every level of society, and then to be recognized at the highest level, you know, I'm cover the whole base. You know.
I like that. You covered the whole base. I like that. I think we've lost Mr. Rudder once again. I think we're having definitely some internet issues here. Let's see if we can pull him back in. Mr. Rudder, you're there?
I'm here.
Oh, welcome back. Yes,
Yeah.
we lost you there just now. All right, so let's continue. Since you talk about the Madmen, the next song we have in the list is Madman's Rant. Just share the story behind the song.
Well, I have a funny way with madmen. You know, I don't know if they're attracted to me. Attracted. Always, it was always growing up in Belmont. I had a riding partner on the block in the corner where everyone used to hang out, and his name was Mac. We used to call him Mad Mac. And Mad Mac had some of the strangest stories. I would sit for hours, sometimes at 2, 3 in the morning, sitting with Mad Mac, explaining some of the craziest stuff you'll ever hear.
No.
You know? So, and again, I always keep referring to how this society is moving along. If we're moving, if we keep stepping forward, if we're going back. Mm-hmm. And Madness and Madman Rant is basically the same song, two different interpretations of it. You know,
right.
Through the eyes of a madman, when you give up all hope that things will be better, a madman in the streets jump on board. This is it. I've been hit, but don't give up, brother. Don't quit. And so that gives you the catalyst notice. If a madman, the lowest man in the society, could say, "Don't give up," who am I? I had to heed that message, you know. And that was the essence of this song, Madman. You know, it's a conversations with a madman.
There's
and
a lot of...
Like he was the only one making sense.
there's a lot of also discussions and scenes talking about the political atmosphere as well at that time. You want to share why you also included that in the song?
Well, a lot of I'll tell you something. That song is still played regularly in Trinidad. Only generation, that man saying the right thing, not knowing that the song is older than them. You talk about a 30-something-year-old song,
Yes.
and still like it's like brand new to the generation because it means nothing ain't really changed.
Wow.
You know what they're seeing is the same thing I was seeing when I created the song, and through the generations, it didn't really change much. You know, and we still have to keep fighting, and we can't afford to give up and quit. We had to keep fighting. So the message is still there. Let's fight a different fight, but make sure we win. You know?
Let's take in Madman's rant coming on from Mr. David Rudder.
Vote for we and we will set you free. Anywhere you turn, somebody chanting to we. Somebody promising jobs for all. Some renting gun to make other people ball. But somebody promising more police car. Somebody going to take the country far. Somebody putting all the bandits away. He said if they do the crime, they're going to damn well pay. But somebody promising a human rights, while somebody threatening to put out your lights. The Montreal full with little Trinidad boys. A bullet start to whine and put an end to the joy. Now they're lying cold for their mama to mourn. The Nike gone, the gold teeth gone. You see they want their pocket full with blue silk. They want the statue drinking full cream milk. The little red silk is not their true friend. The blue one have two extra knot on the end. So a tag on the tourist, now they take it to hell. But look where we reach, well, I hear a madman born. As he spread out on a wall, he said, this is it, I've been hit. No time to give up, brother, no time to quit. Was the chant of a madman in this tale from a strange land. Maybe the chant of the madman is the only salvation.
Imagine that, the chant of the madman, 30-something years and still relevant today. We're still facing the same issues, poverty, people begging and needing jobs, the crime level, all of these things still affecting us as not just in Trinidad, but around the world, especially in the Caribbean, right, Mr. Rudder?
The world, yeah. Yeah. Same story across this little marble we call Earth, you know. Anyway, it turns the same story. Just different levels.
From your point of view as an artist, what can we do differently to change our direction?
Well, we could stop being crab in the barrel. We could start looking to reach out to one another. You know, just basic brotherhood and sisterhood, and see which way it could help you for the man. You know, start there. But everybody's sort of like is almost like a desperate crab, like you know, and to hell with anybody else. You know, and that still prevails a lot. You know. The man on the ground, some places something has trickled down. In some places nothing has trickled down. When you look at Haiti, all the aid and where does it go to, you know?
Yeah.
We're probably up in the hills looking over Port-au-Prince, but not down on the ground in Cité du Soleil, you know? So, you know, so it's all over. We have to try to kind of just look out for each other. We have to start somewhere and keep it and build a momentum. But, you know, you have all these lofty dreams and then everything come crashing down. Let's start with a small dream, so something small and tangible. And then you can take it to the next level, and the next level, and the next level. So we rally around the West Indies. You know?
We will get to that for sure. You mentioned Haiti. I know you have an album called Haiti. What was it like putting that album together?
Well, that was one of my, I think my most successful album, in the sense that almost every piece on the album came a big hit in its own right.
Right.
But it was a strange time. It was I'd done the album in time for November, because people at that time would look forward to getting a David Rudder CD to send for the children in universities around the world. So I was guaranteed a whole couple thousand CD sales just in that space, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I put the album out early, and then 2 weeks after the album comes out, news around the world, they kick Baby Doc out of Haiti. And, you know, Haitians celebrated in the streets and so on. And people say, but this man not write a song about Haiti. So next thing you know, Haiti was the song everyone playing. And then in December, Manuel Noriega held up a cutlass and told George Bush Sr., bring it on. And people started to play Panama. And then during the carnival season, they started to play Bacchanal Lady. And just after the carnival was over, West Indies cricket started, and they started to play Rally. And then in May, a DJ started to play Engine Room. And, you know, it was like the rest is history. But it was a strange album. It was actually, the song itself was motivated, I would say the song created itself in Brooklyn. I had taken one of those gypsy taxis in Brooklyn with a friend of mine from Trinidad, and the driver was Haitian. And we usually paid $3 for the trip, and the Haitian guy said $4. So I handed him $4. But I said, don't give him, them Haitians always want more and things. So I say, you know, if you know the history of Haiti, you know, he probably find minding a big family, and you know, it's tough, it's rough, you know. So he said, I don't care if it's rough. They always want more money, you know. So I said, you know something, maybe that's the mentality of a lot of West Indians, in English-speaking Caribbean and so on. So let me write a song about the history of Haiti. And I was always a lover of history. And then C.L.R. James's book, The Black Jacobins, was one of my holy books. You know, so it was easy to write the song itself. But even up to today, Haitians say, thanks for the song, you know. And that to me says it all right there, you know.
Well, let's
you know,
take
funny
in...
enough, that year in the
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, that year in the carnival, about 3 in the morning, I used to keep the crowd waiting. We play all the big up party songs, big up-tempo songs, and about 3 in the morning, we'd start Haiti in the fets. It was the best reception. You see the whole audience, everybody hands in the air. Haiti, I'm sorry. It was magical. In the heart of the carnival. You know, that's what I remember about that song.
Well, let's play it. Let's play it right now.
He was saw your glory.
Haiti, I'm sorry, David Rudder. Interesting that your audience will wait patiently for you to perform this song. What do you think that it really resonated with your audience?
I don't know, there was something about this song that affected people. Even today. I remember one time I went to Antigua to do a concert, and I played all the madness, the hammer, all the party, people party and had a good time. And then after the show was over, people had to come and say, "Why didn't you sing Haiti?
Wow.
Why didn't you sing Haiti?" I go to the airport all the people in the airport. Baba, what happened to Haiti? We come to the show to hear him. So I said, I had to make note of that and say, I cannot not sing this song.
Wow.
I didn't care whether
amazing.
it was a fete or not. They to hear Haiti, that was something else.
In 96, you were appointed a Goodwill Ambassador to the United Nations Development Program. Can you share that journey with us?
Well,
I think
I remember
we've lost him again. It sounds like we've lost.
one day I got a call from.
Oh, there it is. We're having some serious
remember, Mr.
internet
Farage,
issues here.
and
We're having some challenges that's really affecting this show tonight.
Yeah.
Can you hear me, Mr. Rudder?
Well, yes, I'm hearing you.
Okay.
It's like a bit slow, but I'm hearing you.
I am not hearing him. We've been trying to continue the interview. It seems that it's really... I heard something just now, but I'm not sure. Let's take in Panama. Let's see if we can get this sorted and come back and see if we can get David Rudder once again. So let's take in Panama in the meantime.
Hey, senor, you see any Trinidadians pass here? You must know them. Big fat men with plenty blue money in their pocket. You don't see them, senor? No, man. You have to see them. Hey, the man, they don't say that. A fine El Dorado, it really was down in South. But it was Mexico that them was talking about. Them rich Trinidadians show me this whole El Dorado thing. They here living like lords, but they want to live there like kings. As they get a little money in their pocket, they hide in the cacada. And when you miss them, scamp on them, they're somewhere in Panama. So I go into Panama.
Let's see if we have him back. Mr. Rudder, you there?
Yeah.
All right, great. We seem to having some serious challenges with the internet tonight. We were talking about...
Well, we probably have to try.
Yeah, I think we may have to do that because I really want to be able to get all the information, all the things that you're talking about. And it's very difficult doing this right now. It seems we're really having some challenges with your connection with us right here. And I think we've lost him again. Guys, I've tried my best tonight. We're clearly having some internet issues with Mr. Rudder. So what we will have to do, we will have to reschedule this interview. Some fantastic information shared so far, but I want to make sure that we're able to capture all of it with a fantastic icon like David Rudder. So we'll just play some music from him. And like I said, we will try to reschedule this interview so we can make sure we get the very best for you right here on Conversations with the Artists.
What is it they have over there? Making feelings just gone clear. Some say that they're gone with some say that it's splinter. Them talking about evil. I hear them mention what? I don't like old dog. I'm taking a walk. All your boy, don't spoil me fun. See, I'm take it. Panama, here I come. 2000. Call him a hero. Now they say he's a son of a gun. They say before they could have holla John Yo. How the fella run? How his life was wide like Moon River, more money than chip chip. But just so the young man make a turnabout and take this Panama trip. How he set up a halfway house in Miami and Canada. He looked left and right, then left again and then bust it to Panama. Going to Panama. I got to go to Panama, mama. What is this they have over there?